The shiny marble floor reflects your image, ghost-like in its mottled surface. The floor seems to be made of high-quality Italian marble. Of course, it's hard to tell these days with all the new synthetics. Oddly enough, the portion of the floor near the central column is covered with fine scratches. The walls in this hallway are dark and foreboding. The stone feels very clean. Someone keeps the walls very clean around here. Heavy stone masonry. Each block must weigh hundreds of pounds. Feels like cool stone masonry. Up close, you're able to verify that these are big stone blocks. There is definitely a seam in the bricks. You detect a bit of airflow. Yes, you might even say a subtle draft emerging from the seam. You can feel a definite seam in the bricks. You detect a bit of airflow moving past your fingers through the seam. The seam in the bricks is very deep. The draft from the seam ruffles your hair as you examine the rough bricks. This is the office of Dr. Olympia Myklos. Touching random things in this office could be dangerous. That's not something you want to look at too closely, particularly in this office. A magnificent view of the night sky over New York City. Luxurious velvet drapes adorn the windows. They look like they would effectively block out any light. Nice nap on that velvet. Dr. Myklos has many scholarly texts. You see titles such as Common Bone Disorders of Jackals, Parker's Annotated Encyclopedia of Decay, Know Your Fractures, Mummification Techniques, Advanced Dental Identification, and Decomposition from A to Z. The books are in fine shape, and none of them are dusty. Dr. Myklos must keep current with her reading. A lovely mahogany table. You try not to look at what it's holding. The giant lizards are displaying some rather uncivilized behavior. You decide not to get that close. It must be a rat stand. The rat stand is well constructed of the finest rat stand materials. It's a rat, ready to pounce. Well, he would pounce if he wasn't stuffed. Don't touch the stuffed rat. You'll make him nervous. The stuffed rat has nothing to say. A large and impressive stuffed rat. The rat has been beautifully stuffed. You can't see any seams at all. Cy Pembet, a formerly successful flax farmer from Nebraska, apparently strayed from a museum tour many years ago. His remains were later found in a rarely used storage closet. Since he left no known survivors, the museum president decided to keep him on as a permanent staff member. This office is now his permanent home. The bones are remarkably clean and white. The fully articulated skeleton proudly bears a museum visitor's badge. Assorted skeletal limbs hang gracefully from the ceiling. Unfortunately, you can't reach that high. The cages are empty now. You can only guess at what they once held. You see some short, stiff grey hairs that probably belong to some big, hairy grey rats. The cloth seems to be covering something up. It's made of Egyptian linen. It's half of the famed Rosetta Stone. There's an array of rare cockroaches in the display case. There must be at least 40 varieties of cockroach in the display. Don't touch the chalkboard. You might smear the hieroglyphs. It's Dr. Myklos' PhD in physical anthropology from the University of Thessalonica, Greece. It looks genuine. Why, it's even made out of sheepskin. It's Dr. Myklos' double master's degree in paleontology and physical anthropology from the University of Thessalonica, Greece. The degree seems to be authentic. It's Dr. Myklos' PhD in paleontology from the University of Thessalonica, Greece. It certainly looks genuine. It says Dr. Olympia Myklos, Lifetime Achievement Award from the Society to Protect Misunderstood Inquilines. Thank you, dearest Doctor, for helping people to truly appreciate inquilines. You are a true friend of the rat, mouse, pigeon, and cockroach. The Society's seal is a little golden cockroach. Dr. Myklos' desk is large and impressive. It looks like real mahogany. It's Dr. Myklos' chair. Finest quality leather. It's an intercom slave unit. Feels like an intercom slave unit. A magnified intercom slave unit. The skull of the long-extinct horned rhesus, known in academic circles to be the source of much controversy regarding it as evidence for the extraterrestrial origin of primate evolution. The skull is amazingly well preserved. The bottle says, Dr. Moribund's Guaranteed Snake Oil. The snake oil certainly smells bad.
Good evening, Miss Bow.
Oh, you startled me.
Good. It gets the blood flowing, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose so.
I see you were looking at my snake oil.
Well, I was just looking around.
I'm sure you meant no harm.
What's the snake oil for, anyway?
It repels snakes, of course. Comes in handy when I'm working in the basement. I lost a load of Egyptian cobras down there a few weeks ago, and I occasionally come across one of those little darlings. Those snakes always want to bite me, but I'm sure they don't mean anything by it. It's just their way. They get nervous very easily, you know. Normally, I love to watch them kill things. My Barney will kill anything he can sink his teeth into.
Charming.
Well, I'd like to chat some more, but I've got to rush off and meet that young Steve fellow. He promised to show me his scars. See you later.
What an interesting array of books. Some of the titles include Hide Preservation Techniques, The Care and Feeding of Domestic Beetles, How to Raise and Train Rats, Modern Bone Scraping, Know Your Roadkill, and Millipedes as Household Pets. Dr. Myklos seems to take good care of her books. The jar on the bottom contains the soul of an Egyptian high priest and bears the inscription, "Add 3 cups of water and stir well." The fine print says, "Discard after 1200 BC." This jar is labeled liver tissue, spotted baboon. Fortunately, the jar is tightly sealed. The cage is meant to hold Barney, Olympia's Egyptian cobra. The mesh is small enough that a cobra probably couldn't get through. It's Barney, Olympia's pet cobra. Not a good idea. You decide that's probably not such a good idea. You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
Well, lass, we've known each other a long time, and I'm not ready to get married yet. But I know one thing for sure. I love you.
Oh, my great detective, this feeling, it is mutual.
Just be keeping in mind that I'd have to kill you if I ever found out you were sleeping with someone else.
What? Oh, you are to be making the little joke, no? Your sense of humor, it is magnifique.
I've already had one bad marriage, and it won't happen again. It's been a long time since I've been able to trust anyone as much as I trust you.
This is very flattering, my love. I am never to be knowing someone like you either. You are so good and so kind.
Well, I try, lass. I try. It's not easy being a cop in this town. The place is lousy with criminals, even in the police force.
Oh no, how terrible.
Sure, and it's a hard thing when a cop goes bad. I've seen it happen. A cop spends years fighting crime and watching the hoods get rich while he risks his life to make just a few bucks. The first time a cop takes a bribe, it bothers him. Oh, but then it gets easier.
You are such a strong man, my Ryan. You would never be accepting the payoff, no?
Sure, and I'm shocked that you'd even say such a thing, Yvette.
I'm sorry, my love. I should have known better.
You'll have to show me how sorry you are. Kiss me.
Gladly, my love. How can I resist? Excuse me.
Here now, be off with you then.
Oh dear, the light bulb blew out. You hope someone will invent a reliable light bulb one of these days. You can barely see a narrow, treacherous spiral staircase descending into the depths of the black stairwell. Your magnifying glass doesn't help. It's just too dark to see. It's a light bulb. It's definitely a light bulb firmly screwed into a light socket. This is what is commonly referred to as a hallway. You give the hallway a reassuring thump. Yep, it's solid. A gleaming column of fine Italian marble, burnt sienna in color, topped with a Corinthian-style capital of expert craftsmanship. Since you're the sort of person who splits hairs, you've probably noticed that the capital is a curious combination of Corinthian and Ionic architectural styles. These pillars remind you of that class in architecture you were forced to take at Tulane University. The professor would have been outraged by such a ludicrous mixture of early Greek styles. However, it's well known that the Leyendecker Museum was designed by a half-mad eccentric in the 19th century, Arvin Slatherlord Loudermilk III, so you're not really surprised by the presence of architectural anomalies. In a way, these oddities lend a certain peculiar charm to the character of the museum. Sometimes a column is just a column, even when it was designed by a pillar of society such as Arvin Slatherlord Loudermilk III. It's just a simple column, really. It's smooth and cold to the touch, just as you would expect fine Italian marble to feel. The moisture from your sweaty palm leaves a damp spot on the marble which quickly evaporates. It looks remarkably like a carved wooden ceiling. Your trained eye picks out the initials ASL III, neatly carved into the wooden ceiling. An office door. You admire the fine architectural touch over the doorway that shows this room was designed by the hand of a master craftsman. It's the office of Security Chief Wolf Heimlich. The room feels particularly secure. Even the dust in this room seems to be precisely arranged in size order and in neat rows. A fine example of room lighting. By the look of the paint scratches where the light screws into the ceiling, Heimlich has probably pulled it down for use in interrogating prisoners. This is the sort of thing that annoys Ernie, since he's the one who has to put it back up on the ceiling. A clean, highly polished desk. Specks of dust wouldn't dare to land on it. Sitting on a raised dais, the desk dominates the room. The desk is spotlessly clean. It's an intercom slave unit which can't be controlled from here. It's a desk lamp. There isn't a speck of dust on this lamp. It's Heimlich's chair. Don't even think about sitting on it. The intercom crackles and you hear,
Wolfie, it's Olympia. If you can hear me, meet me in the armor room at 2 o'clock. You promised to show me your private scars, remember? See you there, Wolfcakes.
Sitting in Heimlich's chair would be very unwise. You could get hurt that way. There are many things on these shelves, none of which interest you. There is nothing you require on these shelves. Part of Heimlich's antique weapons collection. You don't want to take any of these weapons. You could put an eye out with one of these things. This is a type of spiked flail known as a holy water sprinkler, which was quite popular in medieval battles. The name, of course, is a humorous reference to the religious device that is swung in a similar manner. The main advantage of a flail over a common mace was that the spiked iron head of the weapon developed extra smashing force as it swung at the end of the chain which attached it to the handle. Although it's a very nice spiked flail, it's not the sort of thing you'd like to carry around. Besides, you could put an eye out with that thing. World War I campaign medals. Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany is prominently featured on many of the medals. Although the medals are shiny and colorful, there's really no need for you to touch them. A heavy cavalry saber. A pair of evilly spiked ballet shoes. Ballerinas were tough in the old days. A medieval spiked cudgel, also known as a morning star. A cavalry musket. A fine broadsword imprinted with the mark of the Toledo swordmakers in Spain. It looks very sharp and deadly. It's one of those exotic oriental weapons you've seen before, although you can never remember the name of it. The broadsword looks like it has been sharpened recently. Unlike the other weapons on the walls, this sword appears to get regular use, which might explain Heimlich's dueling scars. Was that a spark you just saw on this weapon? Or was it just a trick of the light? You also detect the faint smell of ozone. A variety of shiny medals. Two of them with packs of dogs carrying birds in their mouths are marked with the word Reichsjagdgebrauchshundverband. Others appear to be merit badges for the German youth equivalent of the Boy Scouts. You have no practical use for these medals. If Heimlich saw you touching them, severe bodily injuries could result.
What a suspicious looking button. I wonder what it does.
The interrogation chair does not look very comfortable. You don't have time to sit down, Laura. There are specks of blood and tiny pieces of dried flesh on the chair, all of which are so small that you never would have seen them without your magnifying glass. It's too far away for you to get a good look at it, but it's definitely cheese, and it definitely stinks. A closer look reveals a bit of mold on the cheese. It's a length of wire. This bookshelf is dedicated to the topic of gardening. Apparently these gardening books were left here by the previous tenant of this office. This bookshelf is dedicated to a complete collection of the Encyclopedia of Interrogation and Torture. This bookshelf is dedicated to the topic of modern weaponry. This bookshelf is dedicated to the topic of medieval weaponry. This bookshelf is dedicated to the topic of museum security, including such books as Criminals Among Us. This bookshelf is dedicated to the topic of animal traps. This bookshelf is dedicated to the topic of art history. These are books on art forgery. Joe Bob's Weapons of the World for 1926, the complete set of books. Why, it's a book written by Wolf Heimlich himself. The title is The Heimlich Death Maneuver. A series of books on torture without leaving scars. For some reason, the spine on this book has been turned round to face the wall, hiding the title. This book is a collection of poetry by Lord Byron. Apparently Heimlich had it turned on the bookshelf so that the spine with the title faced the wall. Perhaps he was embarrassed to have a poetry book on his shelf? The title, in gold leaf print, says, The Poetry of Lord Byron. The binding is of high-quality leather. The poetry book falls open to a poem, She Walks in Beauty, written by Lord Byron. The page is marked by a black garter with a note pinned to it. A lacy black garter with the name Yvette stitched into it. There is also a note attached. The note attached to the garter reads, You can have the other garter and much more if you meet me at 3 a.m. in the preservation lab. The handwriting is female. You pick it up and place it in your purse. The door to one of the labs. You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Ernie's office.
Interesting. I never noticed that before.
You never noticed what, my love?
You have a tattoo of the Eiffel Tower on the inside of your left thigh.
Ah, you are doing this to distract me, no? But I am worried about you, my Ernie. You are so big and so strong. But this ice pick fellow, he is a dangerous one, no?
Yeah, he's dangerous. But I'll pay him his dough. Ernie Leach always pays his debts.
Maybe you can do some more fencing for this Big Al. He pays well.
Yeah, Big Al's a good customer. But there's only so much fencing I can do for one guy.
This ice pick might try to make the example of you before you can pay him off. He keeps leaving these threatening messages.
Don't worry, baby. Icepick knows he won't get his dough if he kills me. Maybe I can get into a hot poker game down at the Harlem Swinger and win enough money to pay him off.
No, no, no. The gambling is what got you into this mess, my Ernie.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But I've got bigger problems tonight. I saw something I wasn't supposed to see.
What?
You're better off if I don't tell you about it. Now, what's this on the top of your Eiffel Tower tattoo?
I think you know what it is, my Ernie. You've seen it before.
And I always enjoy seeing it again, baby.
Ah, you American men are so charming. Sacré bleu!
Hey, you nosy dame, can't you see we're busy? Scram! Are you deaf? Read my lips. Get out.
It's the Alcoholic Preservation Laboratory. The room feels remarkably well preserved. Must be all the alcohol. Whipping out your trusty magnifying glass, you make a startling discovery. This isn't an alcoholic preservation lab at all. Why, there isn't an alcoholic preserved in any of these vats. An office door. This door is locked. A dusty specimen examination table with a drain at one end. The specimen table and the drain feel dusty. The specimen table is thick with dust. The dusty drain smells like alcohol. It looks like some kind of a sprayer thing, maybe for hosing down lab specimens on the table. Whatever it is, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. A wooden workbench loaded with many empty glass containers that smell of alcohol, although one of them is full of an oily liquid. The desk is dusty, giving you the impression that it's not used very often. Dust comes off on your hand when you touch the desk and the glass containers. Attempting to move the containers, you find that they are welded in place by grime. Yes, that's definitely dust on the desk. The container is full of an oily liquid. The liquid in the container feels oily. You also note that the container is too heavy for you to move. The oily liquid has a strong smell. Phew! The drain in the floor smells of alcohol. The grate is securely attached to the drain, but a bit of rust comes off on your hand. The drain grate has rust on it. Vat 1. Small marsupials are floating in the murky liquid. It's hard to be sure, but you think you can see a koala bear in there. Probing around among the disgustingly cute, but dead koala bears floating in the vat, you are surprised to find absolutely nothing of any interest. Boy, the alcohol fumes sure are strong in here. Vat 2. Peering through the glass, you see a turtle floating nearby in the liquid. You poke around among the mass of dead turtles floating in the vat, enjoying the strong smell and wondering why you're here. The strong fumes are making you dizzy. Another lab door.
Oh, good evening, Miss Ball.
Hi, Dr. Myklos. I'm sorry if I startled you.
Oh, that's okay. I enjoy being startled. And please, call me Olympia.
Okay, Olympia. You enjoy being startled?
It keeps the blood flowing. I love it. I was just trying to find Daisy, my ferret. She usually has the run of the museum, but it's time for me to feed her.
And you think she might be in here?
Well, she's been spending a lot of time in here lately for some reason. She probably likes the unusual smells. Who knows?
Can I help you look for her?
Thanks, but I'm sure I can find her. Would you mind leaving me for a while so she'll come out of hiding?
Certainly. Sorry to disturb you.
Fräulein Bohr, this laboratory is dangerous and verboten to the public. You will leave now.
You see a very tall security man in a military-style uniform. His badge identifies him as Wolf Heimlich, and his appearance suggests that he has never smiled in his life. Good evening, Mr. Heimlich.
Good evening, Fräulein Bohr. When are you leaving?
I expect to be staying a while, actually.
Do not linger in the halls and do not touch the exhibits. If I find you touching anything, I will pop your heart out through your throat. I will not warn you again, Fräulein. Leave this laboratory immediately.
The glass covering the alcove is marked with the words, "For emergency use only." The glass covering the alcove is smooth and cool to the touch. Beyond the glass is a shadowy object resting in an alcove. Perhaps it's a lantern, although you can't tell for certain.
Was ist los? What do you think you're doing? There's no emergency here. Nicht Gefingerpoken mit der Lantern.
I'm sure I don't know him, Miss Bow. I haven't been in New York very long, you know, and I certainly don't keep company with people like that. I try to stay away from paperwork, Miss Bow. It makes the brain go flaccid, eh, what? The museum burns coal in its furnace, Miss Bow. I'm sure I don't know how to answer that, I dare say. Must we speak of such things, Miss Bow? Really? That would smudge my hands, Miss Bow, and unfortunately I have to shake hands with a lot of people tonight. I'm sure I don't need that, Miss Bow. Good Lord, Miss Bow, put that dreadful thing away. Dear God, Miss Bow, that's most inappropriate for a dinner party, wouldn't you say?
You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
Oh, Dr. Smith, I appreciate your help so much.
Well, I don't particularly appreciate giving it. I have things to do, Miss Delacroix. Important things.
But surely you can spare the time to help me move my desk, no?
Oh, I suppose. Why do you want to move it anyway?
Oh, there is a terrible stain on the rug. I don't want it to show. We don't have to move the desk very far.
All right. Oh, it's heavy. Oh!
Oh, I am so sorry. Did you hurt yourself?
Yes. Oh no, I'm bleeding. You owe me one, miss.
But of course, Mr. Smith, I'll do anything you say. Anything. Didn't I let you in when you asked? Didn't I keep your secret?
Yes, I suppose you did. And I'm sorry about bleeding on your carpet. At least it'll blend in with the old stain. What is that anyway?
Oh, it is only strawberry jam.
I'm sure I don't want to know that.
Probably not, Dr. Smith. Now, let's go to your place.
Oh, he's an okay fella, I suppose. I haven't spent much time with the man. That's a dangerous character, lassie. You'd best stay away from him. He eats little girl reporters like you for breakfast. Bones? Don't talk to me about bones. I've seen enough of the bloody things to last me a lifetime. And where did you find that thing then?
I found it in the Egyptian exhibit.
You wouldn't be disturbing the evidence at the crime scenes now, would you, lass?
Well,
I certainly hope not, because I'd have to be putting you away for tampering with evidence.
oh, I certainly wouldn't want to tamper with evidence, sir.
I should hope not. Lass, I've better things to do than to read the notes of some silly old pottery chaser who ended up with a letter opener in his chest. Oh, I'd rather not be here at all, lass, much less answering questions about something as silly as carbon paper. 90% of the furnaces in New York burn coal, missy. That's hardly anything to be writing home about. That's police business, girl, and you'd best keep your little nose out of it. I appreciate a good garter as much as the next man, lassie, but are you sure this is an appropriate subject? Don't try to read those Egyptian squiggles, lass. They'll rot your brain. That's charming, but perhaps you should save it for a more discreet location. I don't wear jewelry, lassie. I think it's a wee bit peculiar, if you know what I mean. I'm sure your notes are a wealth of information, but I'm conducting me own investigation me own way. That's official police property, lass. Give it here. I don't need that, girl. What would I be wanting with that, then?
Bonjour, Miss Beau. How are you enjoying the museum this evening?
I find it very stimulating.
You be careful walking around in this place with the murderer loose. Stay near the Detective O'Reilly or Monsieur Heimlich.
Thanks, but I can take care of myself.
Ah, but you'll keep saying that until the murderer kills you. Please be careful. You seem like a very nice young woman. I would hate to see the bad things happen to you. Monsieur Leach. He is a very honorable man, no? Of everyone here, I trust him most of all. His pay, it is not very good, but I will fix that when I become the museum president someday. In the meantime, he must do the extra work outside to pay his bills.
It sounds like you're quite fond of Mr. Leach.
He has many of the problems, but he is capable of handling them. I help him as much as I can. I do not know this name. If I have met him, I do not remember him. So many of the men and so little of the time, no? Dr. Myklos, she would be the one to talk to about that. The ankh, it is the Egyptian jewelry, no? Dr. Smith wears one around his neck. The notepad, it is blank, no?
Some very interesting carbon paper in your office.
You have no right to be doing the digging around in my garbage, Miss Bow. That garbage is private, and I will not be answering the questions about it. The charcoal, it is not very interesting, Miss Bow. I am sorry. I do not know if this Watney Little. How could the police file be found in the museum? Maybe you found it before you got here, and you are forgetting. You found one of my garters? And you kept it? How charming. I have lost so many of them in the museum, it is hard to keep track of them all, no? Dr. Myklos, she understands those things. I do not, I am sorry to say. I wish I could help. Oh no, Miss Bow, you found it, you keep it. As a memento to remember me by. Merci, but I think that ankh, it is Dr. Smith's sort of jewelry. I am not needing the notepad. I have several of my own. I am having no use for that. Try the Detective O'Reilly if you want to return it. The charcoal, it is not very interesting, Miss Bow. I am sorry.
I'm sure I don't know anyone by that name, Miss Bow. Quite sure. Oh, I never have to look at things like carbon paper. I let my accountants get their hands dirty. Dirty, nasty stuff. I try to avoid it at all costs.
I beg your pardon, Countess?
I said, get that away from me, you silly child. I detest common criminals. Proper young ladies do not talk of such things, Miss Bow. Don't get that near my gown, please. Look out, Miss Bow, it will turn your hands black. Oh, give me that, Miss Bow. I'll take care of it for you. thank you, Miss Bow. It's not quite my style, you know. Miss Bow, really?
Heard any good rumors lately?
Maybe or maybe not. What's it worth to you?
Well, I don't have any money right now.
Then I ain't got no rumors for you, Toots. Ernie Leach? Doesn't ring a bell. And here I was thinking I knew every leech in town. I ain't never heard of the rat. What do I look like? An archaeometrist?
What can you tell me about onks?
Well, mademoiselle, onks is like anxiety or nervousness. Like, I'm feeling a lot of onks about going back in the slammer. See?
Thank you, sir. Most helpful.
Tink nothing of it.
What do you know about Pip and Carter's notepad?
Oh no, you're not seeking that one on me. I never saw the thing before in my life. Can't help yous with that, Toots.
What's the lowdown on charcoal?
Glad you asked. He's gonna beat Seabiscuit in the third at Hialeah. He's a mutter. I don't know nothing about it. Don't ask me.
Know anything about a garter?
Hey, if I knew who Dad belongs to, would I be here John with you? No, sir, not me. Hey, what do I look like? A doctor? All I know is I keeps away from him. Hey, you're not supposed to be walking around with that thing. You're gonna spoil the barbecue. It ain't mine, but I'll let you in on a trade secret. There's a way to read what's typed on these things.
How?
Well, I ain't gonna tell you exactly, or they'll throw me out of the Stoolies Union. But it can be done. No thanks. I never look at nobody else's rap sheet. Professional courtesy, don't you know? I'm not taking anything from you, lady. Why, this thing could be stolen. You keep it, lady. Maybe you can take some notes in it.
A peek into the mummy case reveals that Pippin's body has been removed. Good evening, Dr. Smith.
Miss Bow, I did not expect to see you here.
Ah, but I knew you were coming.
You did? How?
How is not important. The question is, Why are you here?
I had an appointment with Dr. Carter.
You must be aware that he's dead.
Dead? Why, I had no idea.
Died right here in this room, as a matter of fact. I'm surprised you hadn't heard.
I'm shocked. I don't know what to say.
I bet you don't. Where were you at 8 p.m. when he died?
At the party, of course. You saw me there.
Actually, I didn't see you there at that time.
But you must. Oh, well, there was the phone call.
Phone call.
Mr. Heimlich told me I had a call waiting on Dr. Carrington's telephone. When I arrived in his office, the line was dead. So I returned to the party.
Was Dr. Carrington in his office?
No, he was at the party.
Did Mr. Heimlich tell you who was calling?
No, he didn't take the call, and I don't know who told him about it.
You and Dr. Carter seem to argue a lot about the Dagger of Amon.
We had our differences of opinion, yes.
Did you kill him?
Miss Bow, I am shocked that you would ask me such a thing. I am leaving.
We'll talk again later.
You dare to mention his name to me? He is the blasphemous temple destroyer and tomb robber who stole the Dagger of Amon from Egypt.
Did you kill him?
Miss Bow, I am shocked that you would ask me such a thing. Amon-Ra snuffed out Peepin Carter's life as punishment for his crime, and that's all I have to say on this matter. I'm not familiar with this person. I do not know that name. Dinosaur bones do not interest me. They are not Egyptian in origin.
What happened to the pretty gold ankh you were wearing at the party?
I have no idea. I seem to have lost it. I don't care about the scribblings of that son of a camel. I'm sure whatever he wrote is a lie. It does not look useful. Someone has already typed on it. The topic of charcoal is not something that I find interesting. I am completely uninterested in reading that file. It looks like one of Yvette's garters. How curious that you have it in your possession. She gave me one just like it. Hieroglyphs are the ultimate form of written communication. To know them is to know the power of Thoth, who created them for the people of Egypt. It is truly a language of the gods.